So, folks, today I'll just be a prompt engineer, and you guys will be making a little chatbot. All we would be doing is um, write few lines of JS code and have a complete chatbot that has right about the knowledge base that we would provide to it. Like it 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 will have an updated data every time we provide some kind of new documents or anything you feed to it. We'll do it as we go. So there are four parts to the whole workshop today. A little bit about how uh, what LLMs are and how they work. Then just a little bit about embeddings, vectors, and stuff. They are quite important when you start building RAG applications, retrieval augmented generations. If you have attended previous workshops, previous sessions, you might have some idea around it, but we'll touch base on all those things before getting into the workshop itself. And the third part is the hands-on implementation. This is where we'll be just prompting away Claude or something, get some code generated, we implement it in the most simplest way as possible. It will be JS. I assume everyone's comfortable with JS, please HTML, etc. And lastly, we'll also touch base on some of the advanced concepts in RAG, things like how you can take that RAG implementation that you just made to uh, support more difficult queries or even have better retrieval for difficult queries. Right. So LLM in short is just autocomplete on steroids. It's it's just a huge probability, a huge math problem. And all it does is given a statement, tries to predict the next word for it. So let's say if your statement was nah, it's just. So there could be 5 to 6 words that have different probability scores. One could be the probability word itself, another could be autocomplete, another could be neural networks. All of these words match that sentence. Now it's just neural networks. Now it's just probability. Now it's just autocomplete. So an LLM would take the previous words into consideration. Like now it's just another context around it, like like an autocomplete. Is my mouse visible in the screen share?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so it will rank the probabilities of those couple of words that could probably match with the sentence and then just give you the highest ranking based on some algorithms. So in our case, it's just a total thing. I'll drop a blog here. It's a nice little article for the students. Mhm. I'll share a little blog about how LLMs and chat works in the by the end of the session workshop. So how are they trained or how do you cook this steroid? Take a bunch of text and this text corpus can be as large as a complete Wikipedia. Imagine a complete Wikipedia text. And all of you might know how large Wikipedia is if you try to take the whole Wikipedia itself. Now imagine many such data sources, not just Wikipedia. maybe whole of Google itself, like everything that you can find in a Google search, that can be a bunch of text. All the text taken from all the websites, everything, every conversation that you did on Reddit, public Facebook groups, not really a good thing. But yeah, I'm just giving you an example right now. So imagine all these texts, and we do some kind of pre-processing on those texts. We won't be, by the way, just to note, we won't be creating an LLM itself today. We're just creating a chatbot around it. Creating an LLM uh, wouldn't be covered in it to our call. Okay, so you just do some pre-processing on that text. You convert into um, some digestible format for the LLMs. It could be pairs of conversations, complete conversations, like you already have with a chatbot or ChatGPT, for example. So when you say, "Hey, how are you?" to ChatGPT, and whatever response it generates, there is some similar pair to it already in the text that we're feeding to it before training, pre-training. And yeah, third step would be a bit of math. That's the model itself. The model is like bunch of neural networks, which has some mathematic formulas, some probability statistics and stuff going on. It takes a new string, does the whole probability thing that I just said in the previous level. And finally, you have your math in one hand and you have the data. You bake it or you put it together and you bake it. So for this, uh, if you know about NVIDIA, they recently have been one of the most highest priced stocks and stuff. I mean, are you guys aware? In NVIDIA being $1 trillion market and stuff like that. So all of these companies like OpenAI, X, uh, previously known as Twitter, Microsoft, and a lot of them have been buying, I don't know, thousands, yeah, more than thousand, lakhs of NVIDIA GPUs, and they create big, large language models like GPT-4 or if you ever heard about Llama 405 billion parameter models, even the latest Chinese, I don't know, someone created 600 billion parameter model. All of these requires like tons of GPU. Um, Something you wouldn't be even able to see, I guess. It would be split into different servers and different spaces around the world. And uh, after the fourth step, you finally have a model like GPT-4 that you use in your ChatGPT. But um, in step five is where your prompt engineering stuff. So previously we had conducted a session about prompt engineering, how you can efficiently prompt the language model or how to get the most out of it. So you can refer to that session. Again, it's on the learning platform, I guess. So yeah, that's pretty much it with LLMs. You have the text, you have the math, and then you have the hardware. Just put all of this together, you'll have a GPT. I know it sounds so easy. It's actually easy. The whole process of uh, pre-processing this text or the step two, step one and step two combined is one of the most crucial. You might think math is also crucial, but most of the math is all foundational. It has already been out there since few years. A lot of optimizations today is being done in the first two steps. Like how do you present that pre-training data? So, um, why do I need to know all of this right now? It's kind of important when you get into RAG as well. Even though RAG's just adding your information, adding your having an idea of how these texts is being pre-trained or pre-processed and stuff like that would give you some idea on how to have a better RAG architecture or how to evolve your RAG application. I'll share a nice little blog that I referred this morning after the lecture. Okay. So, mhm. So another term that I would be frequently mentioning is vectors and embeddings. These are just numerical representations to your words or text that you would feed. So, uh, if you can imagine, let's say, a language model or something in your mind, it's a huge piece of computer code, and it doesn't take words as it is. Let's say it doesn't see words like we do, like English statements. It has to be converted into some kind of numericals that it can do its calculations, all its matrix, multiplications, additions, and all kinds of fancy stuff on it. It has to do that on top of numbers, like long, long digits. So, given a word, let's say, where words go on vacation, this statement, this could be broken down into, let's go easy. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words, and they can be like five long integers. They would be replaced with five long integers. So like a really simplest form. This is the most simplest form. And now there will be many more statements in your text space, like these three sentences. Every word gets a fancy number constant, or like GPS coordinates for the meaning. All of them would have, all of them would be converted into an array of numbers that we would store into a database. So these array of numbers are what we call as vectors, and those numbers are like your embeddings, vector embeddings. Um, if I'm confusing anyone, please let me know. Like we do have time. Like I can explain if needed. Yeah. Sustain freeze. No, we are on the vectors phase.
Um, okay. I thought you were showing some samples also.
Oh, the samples are from the slide itself. Sample
Okay.
as in, yeah, these three sentences and fourth sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, s- One of my favorite visualizations, I just always show it every time when it comes to vectors and embeddings. A lot of you guys have seen it already, and um, some of you might also go there. Alphonse hata यही दिखाता है हर जगह. It's a really nice mm, visualization of how vectors are related to each other, how you can see. Now, doesn't that look fancy? Okay. So here, every word is positioned into a vector space or an embedding space. This is a three-dimensional space. So in a three-dimensional space, you can imagine a word having three numbers positioned into like a three-dimensional space. I assume you guys can get the basic matter, how you can put a coordinate with three numbers in a three dimension. So similarly, we have placed here, this is 10,000 such points. Let's pick any one of them. Just randomly I'll click appropriate. So now what you see here, or what you see highlighted, is the related or the closest words to those three, mm, to that coordinate, appropriate coordinate. So these highlighted ones are related to it. Now, how did we place this into, how did we find keyword A is related to all these other B to Z? So we have a model, an embedding model. This is the model that does the conversion for you. given a given a text or given a word. This is the model that gives you the numbers and helps you place them on this graph, little graph. You can see some embedding models in action. One of the recent ones that we've been using for one of our projects, for more like a demo thing. So it's a little API. It's a really simple API. So all we're just using one of the services out there. It's called Gina.ai. They make really cool embedding models, multi-model embedding models. So we were just talking about text. You can also associate images with text. That's one of the use cases that you guys can explore. Not just images, videos, audios, quite literally any kind of media can be correlated to each other. So there are um, multi-model embedding models out there. So I forgot the exact term. Yes. So we can pick one of the multi-model as well, just for the demo purpose. Yeah. So Gina clip, it's like a combination of Gina's own work, a multi-model, and clip is another model by OpenAI. It's an open source implementation of this multi-model architecture. So they created a combination of it. Let's see. Nothing. Yeah, yeah, that's, we'll remove some of those unnecessary text as I will not read this tiny thing, this thing. Okay. So given our input data, it's going to generate a huge series of images. So the graph that we saw previously was a three-dimensional graph. It was a simplified version of a much bigger number that is simply not renderable on a screen. Or I don't know if you guys can even imagine such kind of dimension. It's it's nothing that you can visualize. So as you can see here, it's 1024 dimensions. So 1024 dimensions are like given a word, you would have 1024 numbers for representing that word. It also means how much semantic meaning it's extracted from that single word or sentence or whatever it may be. Higher the dimensions, better, but higher the dimensions also mean more storage and more computational need to do the searches. So there are embedding models right now that generate you dimensions of an upward of 8,000 dimensions, 6,000 dimensions. It's all nice and good. Like they would, they rank in the top of the embedding models, leaderboards and stuff. But uh, but running them is almost impossible on our normal computers. You would need really large servers to reach them. Okay, so in this one, yeah, you see an awfully long list of numbers. So these are long floats. There would be 1024 floats for each of them, each of the data point. And these floats represent this text. Okay, maybe can just So all these floats that you see represents just this one text, a beautiful sunset over the beach. And this gets converted into these many floats. So the embedding model that we're using over the API, this one, this has been trained over a ton of similar texts, and it knows how to convert each of these words and combination of words and spaces into these vectors. So these are your embeddings. This is what we would be storing in a database for later retrieval and augmentation of the query and providing the user with the latest information also. So let's get that. Uh, yeah, so that's how they have been placed into this graph using those numbers, getting those values, putting them into the 3D graph. You can also see the list of related words suitable to quite useful if I go to something else. So we have consequently other yes. Yeah, you can explore this later. I'll drop the link again. I always drop this link into any session. Okay. So that was it with vectors and embeddings. Now, 13 reasons why JAG. I obviously generated it from OpenAI. So your RAG needs to be fact checked. It needs to be true to its source. So LLMs, like how I explained how LLMs work, right? It's based on some kind of probability given the previous set of words. Now that in another words is hallucination as well. Like you're just letting the model or the math itself decide what should be the next word for the previous given set of words. Now, with a lot of fine tuning, with a lot of specific kind of data set, if you have like a really small data set, you're tuning a model to work just with it. It might work well. You might not even need RAG, but then you would be limited with uh, when you will have to fine tune the model every time. Requires a lot of resources to do all that math again on the new data. And yeah, you guys can just read through the 13 reasons why. I won't be going through all of them. Some of them are just slightly duplicate of each other. Things like your data, your notes. And yeah, so Jack basically allows you to present or make a chatbot with all the latest information or the factual content that you got on the website. Can I, should I just move the slide? Yes, GD.
Yeah, we can move.
Hello. Oh, I just. All right, we'll get to the now with the workshop itself. That will be prompting and building a little chatbot sentence. So as a beginner, we'll be using OpenAI's what is it? So I mentioned in the first message about this the announcement message that to create an account on Open Router. It allows you to use a lot of free models like Gemini's models or any other, or even the open source models. So Open Router doesn't host models, just in case if you're thinking, they just route the APIs or they just use already exposed APIs in the backend. It's just a single place to put in, like you have one API key and you can play with a ton of other. As you can see, These are some of the open source models out there. They also have the paid models, like sorry, closed source models like OpenAI Open. If you don't have access to the OpenAI's official API, you can use it through this software. This is going to let's get the docs. Oh, another fun thing about Open Router, it uses the exact same. It can be used behind an Open AI's library. You just change the URL for the Open AI library in the base URL, and the request will just go to Open Router. But you can use all the open source models through the OpenAI API library. All right. Yeah. A funny thing is literally using in the documentation as well. But we'll do the API directly. We don't want to be dealing with libraries in this. So RAG has some similar concepts. Here I gave, instead of assuming that the language model would find the open router documentation, I'm just providing it with the sample that I got from the docs. So that it just work out of the box instead of me trying to debuff the whole recommendations. So it you have say there. It is pick a key. It might not work the first time as it is, but just give it a try. Let's see how good the generation is. We might have to set in people. It's really good. Something failed. Could I get more evidence? We can just copy paste the thing. Let me just take a quick look. So mark dot, that's for markdown. It did do styles. It, it also has like a single section thing and complete that experience. Yes. It's it's just neat. Anyone knows how to use this live server thing? I think it used to have a
You can just open that file in your browser directly.
it's a track specific thing. Like that. Thank you.
Do you have the live server plugin installed?
Oh, never mind. I got it. Hmm. Okay, no problem. So that's just the model. It's a paid model. just switch it. We didn't switch it to the video. All of them are free, but instead of going gently, I want to try something. The 3.2 might be interesting. How about something larger? Wave? So you click on it and you have the whole a little string in it, have a copy button, just click on it. It replace it in your model as simple as that. Um, just this thing. It doesn't kind of it. Maybe too many folks are using too many. Let's go back to gently. Also, they are having some okay, maybe just switch out to something else. For example, geometry. Maybe I've used this quite often. We have it on one of the projects and it's working. This is pretty much it.
Alphonse, dump the error as well. Like it is just saying like
It's
some
like
error
it seems
occurred.
it's the error coming from the API as a response itself. Um, that's real. It just worked out of nowhere. Okay. So the code actually works. Mm, you know what was happening. I got panicked a little bit. Alright. So you're looking for something I can help you with. So that's sorted. Let's go next stage. So next would be adding a little data source. So that's a simple chatbot for you. And what like an chatbot. Okay. And so, like, weird stuff. Never mind. So let's try something else. You have your little chatbot. As So what I've written is what I've asked is to create a really simple RAG implementation. Since it's 2025, it should just get the RAG straight. And as a data source, it's just going to give us a little paragraph field in which we dump some kind of information from the internet, maybe Wikipedia or something. And for chunks. So to give an idea of many data points, we'll be breaking down the huge piece of data. Let's say the longest text that we can get on the internet. We just break it down to really small pieces. We'll go through it. We'll go through the process and code it. So extension process. So retention processing, creating oops, that. It's creating a simple vector store, a little array, an empty array, creating the embeddings. Right. So it's going to create some random embeddings, but we can add an embedding provider. Remember the Gina AI thing that we just did? Stuff like that. Isn't this fun? It, so we don't need strings. It really is simple. I just take the passion. Let the model do the think we should switch the model since we are using it in the story. If you remember, uh, like how I said previously, larger embeddings require more compute of the means, and we're not going to use any proper database right now. We're just dealing with them in database. So let's pick something really small. 2024. Okay, 768. It's just 768. Opening and close division. I think things like task is an opinion. It's an opinion. So, stuff it. So let's say, right. Looks good to me. The tendencies are trying to run doing a similar thing. So this is the function that takes care of finding the distances between different chunks that has been converted into numbers or vectors. Process which is splits the parameter. Test the embedding. It's stores it here. Let's give it a run. I can't be bothered of inputting it. And just just keep this thing open just in case. Okay. As for the knowledge base, it's very what should we look for or what should we create the experience around? That's only the differences. Yeah. Hmm. We have the number of reports. Anyone watch the everyone watched the Terminator, right? Assume there's no hasn't watched the Terminator. Okay. So it's not. Let's see. So this is a double slashing. It will break here, it will break here, it will break here, and yeah, we got quite few number of paragraphs. Let's give it a try. It would fail, but it's been the best. It's the same. Yes. Oh, we didn't use the key. Oh, open router key. Oops. Again, I forgot we were dealing with two keys here. And I know I could have just placed it as a menu there. I just did it without thinking much. Okay, that sounds good. Process 28 cents. So now you have like 28 data points embedded using the Gina API that we started to add to the now there's a bit more. There's a common with this, but let's use something specific. Let's see. Since it's a rack system, it shouldn't say much about other any other books or like anything that these four guys mentioned. Let's make it a bit more vague. Then just vague. Right. Maybe um, you know, like, let's just try. Let's just see if it fails. We'll debug, and then we'll come back to it why it's failing. It's passing. Made it really. Uh, right. It's using the other one. Okay. You should just want to really simple back. I forgot to comment. Like, done. Not really trying to David Harris. David Harris. Yeah. David Harris. Let's see if it works. Maybe someone. Mm. There's also a mention of David existing there. This was the provided context to it. It's let's try that again. Maybe it was a bit too late. Mhm. Hmm. To pick something really significant, something that it won't know. So, so, yeah, how do we find any latest information? Or maybe something the chatbot might know by LinkedIn. What it won't have paragraphs. That's getting to do. Okay, let's just go back a little bit. So you have your retrieved context. Right now, we're using an in-memory RAG implementation that we just made AI writing. It's doing all the calculations manually. Normally, we would have a proper database. We switch to a proper database and try again. So when we talk about databases, there are many options out there, as in tons of options. One of the most simplest one, something called as Page. It's by Facebook. Uh, it runs locally. It's a little library. Let's see how can we add face to our geosport, unless it's impossible or something. Should be. Let's see. See library. Is line chain implementation phase. Phase. What's the phase structures? But we don't know using. We'll also be implementing mirrors by the end of the session. So mirrors is something that we have been using earlier, the AIDXP, or now called as PO, or to some many of the related experiments that we're doing. All of them are based on this. That one would require a proper Docker-based setup, and I I have a template setup as well, which you guys can probably just clone. Let's see, that's the first thing for. Let's fix everything. Um, feel free to take the keys and stuff if you want. If anyone's like implementing it, you can share it with us. Just public keys that I just picked up um, in front of us. Obviously, free. Right. You know, important key setup in place. Let's look at implementation notes. And, oh, there's a face line. And I didn't know that was a line. So let's keep it. Hmm. Why do I feel this is bound to take? So yeah, that seems to be a hallucinated package. Okay. Yeah, let's see what you try. Embeddings. Experiments. If it's working, then good. So base light was made up of activities. This is this one. The competition for the it also set up in the system. Here, just sitting in the question. I'm not talking about such. This is the that one. Like, just give me a second. So I don't know. Let me just set up the thing. So Millis requires a little Docker setup. You can drop this link here. Uh, so the couple of commands here simply opens a little port on which you can connect your backend, vector backend port that you would connect it to your APIs, English APIs. They also have bash commands, which you can, sorry, curl kind of commands, which can be used like that. It is- I think this is a public one. So the setup in here already is required files that you need for Melis, like spinning up the Melis instance. Melis is just more like an alternative to the phase that we're failing at implementing inside JS because binaries are originally in C. They don't seem to compatible package for it. It's just really don't keep up with it. Okay, so we are inside the Docker. I've cleaned up my Docker stuff. It's, it's, uh, I think I did not pull after the last chapter. Shouldn't take time. So you have Milvus to store. Let's do it. Need an embedding module. So since we are going to store it on a local, let's also try the local embedding module. Most of you might have heard about Olama. So Olama is a little library. It provides you with a little bit that you can just run and specify a model name to run on it too. This one would keep. So I think I already have. Yes. My voice is up and running. To check. Okay. So let me see. Let's pick the release model as well. You can probably just pick any model. I'm just going to pick one of the small ones that should work. So once you have installed Lava, embedding. It's a really simple command. This is all you need to install. It's once you install, you need to run it on a server. This spins up the server to interact or let's say interact with its internal commands and stuff. Let's see. Yeah. So run will not only run it, but also pull the memory. Right. So, like, do the distance. I might have some. Okay, we do have an embedding model. We can, when we're going to do the embedding, we can response. Just give me a minute. Hey, folks. Sorry to keep you waiting. So we start writing the code. So, Olama can also use that reason that we suffer. Yeah, this is what we need. Let's just give it a. We can try the embedding language at least. Okay, the embedding it seems to be done. Just need to, or we can skip that. Just we'll set up the active sequence in series. That is China. Using nodes packages not same as using results. Instantly. That just get the absolute. That's how you upload the chant documents that we need to get. Embeddings. Let's give this a try. Okay. Just let's see what the different. I think oops, that is my- yeah, 68. So yeah, get embeddings. Stay here. See the embedding. Create the analysis quickly. Direction. Directions. Create. Thing this video. We only need next is insect vectors. Direction. Search. Source. Okay. Let's go. Change the dimensions. Yeah, I mean, you cannot mix dimensions. You cannot mix results from two embeddings. The learning from each embedding model is kind of unique to them. Even if you match the numbers of two embedding models, whatever they generate would be could mean they're completely different, like the same integers, the same numbers. Everything could end up meaning something else. That's why when you have like a super large amount of data in data set, simply trying to switch between embedding windows or like, yeah, embedding one by one is almost impossible. So you try with the smaller data set. You um, given a website, you take like 10 data points out of it and try different embedding flows out of it. Re-embedding 10 data points seems to be much cost efficient than re-embedding a complete data set. Mm, okay, let's just try to learn it by little bit. Mm, let's just pick something. Hmm. So C has just happened, and we just pick it as a data source. The images probably will be skipped, but then we line process. So that's coming from all. And then you can look at this course here. The model is downloaded and you just need to fill this course.
Alphonse, it seems you need to do some debugging here to solve this course error, right? Because this is coming from Olama side, correct?
Yeah, but Olama was accessible from the bash or my terminal. Like, okay. It says successfully, but let's just take a We have ATTU. So if it says process 22 documents, it also means it has added into this database, but we have a little UI for it as well. It's table code. So the Docker setup that I shared with you guys also has all these things packaged. So so it get into the creation part. So if it were to fail at embedding, it would have to manager. If it were to fail, it would have but
What is the collection name you are passing?
oops. Um, oh, my bad. Yeah. So collection name is like your database name. So
Yeah, yeah.
but it's on. Yeah. Just give me a minute. Database has collections underneath it. You can have like multiple databases and you can have multiple collections under a single database.
Yeah, but
Think
here the
of
database name is default, and there you are passing
yeah.
semantics.
So uh, uh, think of um, database is a collection of tables. So semantic search is your table.
Okay.
We're just using the default database. We're not mentioning it. So by default, it just uses the see. Yeah. Did you add to console the one? You also add one for tools just to make sure what other experiences that we're getting. Repeat search. Let's go and page correction, get a readiness set of terms. Spanning. Oh, it automatically. Was data. Mhm. We have a first response. Well, we're supposed to get new response. So we're going to Mhm. We had a vector insert before there was any creation. It's simply bad issue. So on page load, it's doing correction from, but we can see that maybe. Just so the drop next should be
Suppose you should be able to look at the response using the XHR request itself.
I just wanted to make sure it's that we need to the data. Yeah, we have create.
Hmm. Click on the preview tab,
mm, Oops.
and that's where your error is.
Collection name and dimension. Okay. Oh, now let's dimension. We have that. Anything is fully creating actually. It's just so I just replace all. Still, um, oops. Okay. Just try to
It looks like the attribute name would be collection, not collections को name Alphonse.
name, but why did it just refresh my page?
Hmm.
I'm not even pressing the refresh.
Do you have any submit handler like this process button? Does it a submit button?
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
Hmm.
we just did that.
It
We
must be live server thing, Alphonse, because you have Melvis ka database in the same folder. There's something getting modified in the Melvis ka,
would have
uh,
so
ka files. That's why it's reloading the application
so
automatically.
yeah, but how do we just ignore it?
You should just right click on the rag3.html and open live server there rather than for the entire folder. Just right click, open with live server. No.
Was I supposed to switch off the previous one somehow?
Both of them are running on the same port. Yeah, switch off the last one and then try again.
It's
In
a
fact,
sim.
you could just disable and a live reload can be disabled from the live server settings. Go to the settings cog right there for live server. No, it's a plugin configuration at once. And
Um,
yeah, click on that, click on settings, disable, search for reload,
to reload. That is
reload. Right. Says it's disabled.
You can also open the HTML file directly in the browser, right?
That
That
won't work,
that
Hemant. That would lead to cars because the origin is null there.
Oh, okay.
That's why Alphonse was running into the cars error.
okay.
Ah,
Hmm, hold on. There must be something in the plugin to just disable loud.
move that file to different folder simply.
Something else to do. Just
Can you check in Milvus instance? Is it receiving something now? Because unless there are mods and do a refresh here. Yeah, your instance got created this time, and that's why it was reloading.
but I just
Maybe move rag3 into a separate folder, Alphonse. Open that folder in your VS Code. Use live server from there. Create a new folder. Move
yeah,
rag3.html into that folder.
I just moved
No,
it.
no, no. Hold on. Open a new VS Code instance. जहाँ पे you're just opening that folder. Yes.
I don't feel that was just really nice. We have all of them in text. Okay, that was very simple. All right. So what do we want to buy? Okay. Um, okay, let's see the fetches. Take this search. We can probably do the search. So, yeah. Yeah, there's one here. It's not in the web UI that we were trying to develop, but yeah, we have the ones showing it deleted. You can do it quickly. Just quickly. Not use the regulars. Just try to find the long one. So if I look for the long one, just it is do something like this to the like to press the top. Something about some drive unit. No, it's not. In Javier on the second one. Yes. Alright, so that's pretty much your semantic search, all of it.
So, Alphonse, maybe we can wrap up the session then.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Okay. Stop. You can stop recording.
We can add the chat part later, or maybe tomorrow. Should be just a 30-minute thing. Max. It's just like maybe just adding back the previous chat that we removed from adding the semantic search in a little JS app.
Yep. Anyone has any
Thank you.
questions?
Yeah. Anyone any questions? I know it was long, but I did say it was a 2 hour workshop. Those who stayed, thank you. Yeah. Sorry about the live debugging. Okay. Yeah, that's the fun of developing with AI, I guess. You ask AI, you get a response. You debug. Anyone, anything? Don't tell me all of these profiles are just online. Oh, very easy. Anyways, uh, thank you everyone. Feel free to drop